I'm gonna build a thing with like a thing here that goes like shh, and then there's gonna be like thing this way to like stable it, and the thing on this way to like keep it up, and it's gonna open like this way, and that's what it's gonna be and do, and I'm gonna make it. Ta-da! Ahoy, friends! Here I am on the floor. Behind me is this little wall of squares to stop my rabbits from getting up the stairs here. So in order for me to get down, I have to step over top of it, and like that's really annoying. So today, I'm going to change that and turn it into a gate using this thing from a dog crate. I'm going to turn it into like a gate. The door is going to open like this way, and then I'm going to be like stuck behind it. I'll start this project by running a bunch of wood through my planer and filming it from various angles because I think some of these shots look pretty cool. I think it's neat how it gets run through and all the dirt gets ground away. Look how clean that piece of wood looks now. It was fun to set up these shots from like overhead and beneath, and this last one that ruined my camera. I don't know why I filmed like every single step of this entire process, but I did, and I'm gonna try putting it all together so you can see every single step that I did. Hopefully that's enjoyable to watch. Right now I'm cutting the boards of wood with the table saw so that they'll be the right width, and then I can cut them down with my circular saw, miter saw, the other saw, to be the correct lengths. I'm cutting off the beaten up sides of the wood and then cutting off the end tips that have like the holes through them from the nails. It's not worth patching up and saving. You can see some of them are just broken and they're snapping as I'm cutting them. And now it's time for me to use a tape measure and measure from the saw blade to the edge of the saw. Come on. Just gotta measure. Need to measure from the saw blade. There we go. From the saw blade to the side of the saw. There we go. Just a few slight adjustments and it will be the exact right length that I need. And now for another series of really interesting shots of wood being cut. I hope you enjoy it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the wood being cut. In this last shot, I'm cutting out a groove for the top and bottom pieces of the gate. So that's all the wood cut, and I shall now sand this thing here smooth using sandpaper from my folder of powdered crushed boulder. Oh. Ooh. Ah. Wow. Smooth. Alright, now that that's done, my next step is one that I should have done first, but I didn't. So I'm going to do it now. Take wood filler and patch up all the little holes in the wood. Alright, this is going to be boring, so I'm not going to record it, but just imagine I take this and I open the lid, and then I put this thing into the goop, and I just like this, and it goes like, and then and I just do that a bunch of times over. So picture that in your head. And finished.
So that was really boring and took forever. And now for the next step, it's to cut off these little nubbly bits. Yeah. Alright, my first step is to put tape around these little nubbin parts here, so I know exactly where to cut and make it look like that.
So this here is my rotary tool with like a metal cutting wheel on it. It is super rad. It just like spins and it cuts right through all the metal. Gotta watch out for those sparks though.
Ta-da! They're all cut off. Now to take the tape off and then screw the whole thing together. Which I'm also not going to film because I don't know a good shot to make of like screwing things together.
I forgot to film the part where I cut holes through a piece of wood here, 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 and here, and so on, for the gate to go through. So enjoy this still image with some arrows on it.
Ta-da! It's finished. Except for like sanding down all the wood filler and attaching the hardware and building the rest of it. So the next step is to goop-de-goop some boards and then plane those boards and then cut the sides of them down so they can be nicely wedged together. Alright, so that's all the wood cut. Now the next step is to cut them all at like a 45-degree angle. One of those is a 45-degree angle. And then line them all up. And then screw them together into shape.
If I haven't mentioned before, all of this is pallet wood from the previous videos. And now to move very quickly while I tape paper to a table, for reasons that will become quite apparent in the next little bit.
Ta-da! I made a template. Alright, you definitely can't see it very well, but I drew lines on this paper across like up here, and then this way, and then like down and back up, so that I can line up all the wood pieces much easier than if I was just like, not using a paper template.
Wood, 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 wood. And now to screw the wood together with my frozen pencil in the background. Beautiful.
Alright, so I got this whole thing glued down and screwed together, and these heavy weights to weigh down the glued sticks. So this one wing is finished, and now on to the second. Once I lift a bunch of heavy weights. Ta-da! That's one of them finished. It'll sit like this. There'll be a board of wood attached to it here, which will attach to the gate, and then there'll be the other one there, on the other side, and then there'll be the other wing this way. But like the other side of the post, like you'll see. Alright, so all the wood is cut, and now comes the fun part of putting other pieces of wood onto these pieces of wood to keep all this wood together. I'd also have to carefully measure how far in the wood will go, because this piece of wood's going to go like here at the very edge of this little wing, and then there'll be like a little thing here that'll be like bolted into this wood so it all stays in place. But all of this is going to be on like this side of the wood, over here. Yeah, you'll see in a second.
And here's the same shot from before, but with no frozen pencil in the background. Beautiful. Boop, 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 boop.
Ta-da! I'm on to the very lasties. Just need to cut these pillars down to being like the right height, and then attach the gate hardware, and put like a little strip of framing around the edges here. And on this one. And attach these pillars to this like baseboard here on the floor, so it'll all be nice and attached together. And then attach the gate hardware, and it's finished. Hooray! Also staining it. If I don't know if I said that already, but I'm gonna do that. All right, so I'm worried that the posts won't stand very well on their own, so I'm going to cut just a chunk of this wood here to put onto the bottom of them, just to act like a little extra stability bracer.
Buzz.
All right, so now I need to attach this little handle here, and then the other handle on this side. But first, I'm gonna glue this little piece of wood to here, but on this side, to give the handle just a little bit more like bulk. But before I glue this thing on, I'm gonna line this all up like this. I'm gonna drill a hole right through here for the striker bar to go through. Ahoy! So while that dries and other things dry and such, I'm going to clean up this table. I'm not going to film it. That'll be boring. Or it won't be. I don't know. I don't know what people like watching.
So now I need to measure out the spaces to put the hinges for the gate. And then I will tape them down to make the next part easier. Now for the difficult task of going underneath the table so I can mark on the post where I need to drill to attach the hinges to the post from underneath so it all stays flat. Now that all the holes are marked, I can drill them with my drill.
Alright, the next part is to attach this thing, the gate handle, to the gate. But first, if you watch here, put this in, pop this through here, pokes out quite a lot. So to fix that, I'm gonna take this little metal thing and these measurements that I've already made on it, and I'm gonna cut it apart along one of them, the one that I'm supposed to cut along. Alright, so this middle bar will come out exactly this far from the gate. Goes exactly this far into it. So if I take this measurement, put it against this measurement, it brings me to cutting off right here. Alright, so now the hole's drilled here, I just need to line up both latches on both sides, make sure they're perfectly square, and then poke the holes here and here for it to be screwed into. Yeah. It's gonna be a challenge, but what in life is easy?
I'm clamping a piece of wood down to make it easier to square the handle. And then I'm using a triangle to make the handle square. And then I mark the hole positions with my frozen pencil. Yay! I'm going to drill holes for the screws to go into, but I have to measure to make sure that I'm not going to drill too far. I don't want to drill all the way through the wood. So I'm only going to drill exactly this much.
Alright, now I need to put the framing stuff around this just so these edges are not so exposed. I already did it up here, but it's behind all these weights. Back here. Behind my head. Yeah, you can see it now. Hi, Airman's floor. I'm going to be putting these screws, I'm going to drill these holes a little bit bigger so that these screws can go in through here. I'm going to anchor them into these little guys inside the post. Alright, so now I've drilled holes in here. I'm just going to mark those holes on this board of wood so that I can put these little thingies into it. Little spike things. I'm going to make sure I line this up across the bottom first. Then I'm going to clamp it into place. And then I'm going to mark it where it's supposed to be drilled.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Sadly, the board that I'm putting across the bottom of the gate broke, so I have to re-glue it back together. But first I'm going to drill holes into it for the post to be attached.
Alright, so I drilled these holes for the screws to go through. And I'm going to put these boards on it like this way, because the crack's going this way, so I want this board to cover it. Make a brace like this. But I don't want all these little edges to be showing. You see it from here. I don't want it to be have these little edges visible. So I'm going to cut one of these boards in half. And then put those strips right across here and across right here. And then in between will be all these little slats. Ta-da! It'll look like that. Ta-da! It'll look like this, with pieces in between. But you won't see that because this will be on the bottom.
And now to cut out all the little slat pieces that will be glued to the bottom of the bottom board, and then on to drilling out 2 holes in 2 of the pieces for the bolts to fit into the posts. Boop, 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 boop.
Ta-da! So it'll look like this, but imagine glue being put down between all these pieces, and clamps, clamping all of it down.
And now that everything is glued, I can... oh, this piece is too big. It might fit sideways. Nope. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, now everything is glued. This fits. Now that everything is glued, this will fit in place somewhere around here, like this. There we go. And this will slide in, and I will take it back out so I can actually put the glue in, which I should have done first. Last piece, I'm going to add these little pieces of wood to cap off all the exposed parts. Boop! And now for the exciting part you've all been waiting for. It's the staining montage. Yay! I'm staining this using a Minwax wood finish penetrating stain, the Ipswich Pine 221, not sponsored. Ah, look at that stain doing its staining thing. There's no reason I chose this stain. I was just looking around the store and I thought this one looked nice on the bottle, on the can, on the bottle can, on the metal can. I gave everything 2 coats with the stain and then coated it with the varnish stuff. I didn't film doing that because I don't know, you wouldn't really notice a difference. I also stained the whole thing, like the front and backs and bottoms of everything, even though you wouldn't see it. Just felt like, yeah, might as well. It is really enjoyable just seeing the wood change from this light color to like a darker color, as, you know, that's what wood stain does. Honestly, I don't really know what else I could say about this, but there's still like another minute of wood staining happening. Does every part of this need commentary? I don't know, but I feel like adding commentary to every little part of it, and so I will, throughout multiple voice recordings. But hopefully no one notices that all of my voice takes are like 7 or 8 clips just clipped together. It takes like 5 recordings for me to get through an entire sentence, so that's a fun Drew fact for you.
Okay, so alright. My flower crown matches my shirt. I have everything finished now. So it's the final task of just screwing it all together. And then putting it here. Then over here. This way. It'll go here.
It's the final montage. Do-do-do-do. This is a screw. Do-do-do-do. Look at me screw. Do-do-do. 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 My head is shiny. I didn't record putting it all together, but here's a cool pan shot of it, assembled and put in place. Please ignore the hay and bunny poop on the floor. It's inevitable. So, Charlie, what do you think about this gate? This is the greatest piece of construction that I've ever seen since that bed from IKEA that I like to sleep underneath. This is more beautiful than a pile of cilantro with a slice of banana on top. Well, Daisy, what do you think about it?
I think that it's very lovely. I like that I can look up and look through the bars at the window.
And now for a quick demonstration proving that it actually works. Ta-da! As you can see, Charles is safely trapped on the other side, where he belongs. Ah, what a cutie. I will not leave this spot until you return. Boop!
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment and all that other stuff.